All right, guys, what's cracking? Give it a couple minutes to kind of warm up. I'm going to send the stream off to our boxing group. I start all of these boxing news today lives with, if you're not following us on Facebook, our group link, our Instagram link is in my channel's bio. Facebook Boxing News Today, Instagram Boxing News Today. And it is Thursday, June 27th here in Sydney. You Americans, it's Wednesday, June 26th. I woke up as usual. It's been pretty active week, believe it or not. I didn't think going into this weekend, we knew it was going to be busy with the two cards coming out of Arizona, Miami. But globally, it's turned out to be a big week, and we'll cover that shortly. Give me a minute or so. We'll talk about what's going on at Wembley this September in England. Turki Al-Sheikh surprised all of us once again, or should I say, is doing what he seems to be comfortable at doing and putting on these crazy events internationally. He's done them in Saudi Arabia. We're getting ready to do it in Los Angeles in August, and now September at Wembley Stadium in the UK. So one could think, I mean, could you imagine if Turki Al-Sheikh is creating a monthly global international event? That's the rumor that I've been told by some people. Imagine every month a large event, different part of the world with the world's best boxers, because we have obviously the two I'm about to name aren't Turki Al-Sheikh, but it's like this coming weekend at the end of June. Imagine if Bam Rodriguez and Estrada were on the same card as Teofimo Lopez and Steve Claggett. They're not. Two different cities, Arizona and Miami. Imagine if they were, though. And then you got July 6th, the following week, you got Shakur Stevenson in Newark, New Jersey. Imagine if that Shakur Stevenson and Jaron Boots Ennis, which is the following week on the 13th in Philly, were on the same card. And we move on to August 3rd in Los Angeles. We know how stacked that card is. And now it leads me up to my point. September 21st at Wembley, they're just announced this massive card, Riyadh season, Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. I know a lot. I put this up in our group, and some of the Americans were salty, and you could just read some of these comments. It just goes to show you boxing, I guess, still isn't as an international sport as we think it is, because you could just read the comments. Turki Al-Sheikh puts together this Riyadh season card, similar to what he did in LA for August, stacked it with North American fighters, did this in England, and the comments are just disparaging. Two of my favorite fighters, you got Hamza Shiraz, the co-main. So we'll go over the main event is Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua. This is Wembley Stadium. This seats 100,000 people, okay? 100,000. I was at Kudos Bank Arena March of 2023 to watch Tim Tszyu beat Tony Harrison. I was in the fourth row. There were 20,000 there. And 20,000 at Kudos seemed like it was just ungodly amount. I couldn't imagine 100,000 Brits for an all-heavyweight British affair, Dubois versus AJ. These guys have been going at it since the amateurs. The co-main, Tyler Denny, Hamza Shiraz. Tyler Denny just fought last weekend or the weekend before. Hamza Shiraz is a very exciting style. I'll do a feature on him if you're unaware who that is. Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington's a stud. He's had some mixed reviews. He's had some mixed bags all of a sudden, but I think he started his career 17, 18-0. Josh Warrington's a stud. He's taken on Anthony, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Kasachi. And then my boy PBK, pretty boy Josh Kelly, is fighting Liam Smith. I'm stoked about that. Josh Kelly's a 154-pounder. He's the white Brit. They call him PBK. He's a reflex fighter. You can find a lot of his YouTube highlights on Instagram, doing a lot of cool stuff, hands down, if you like that sort of showcasing. He has one loss. Everyone was a Joshua fan the day he represented boxing properly. Yeah, AJ, I mean, it's good to see. When AJ lost to Andy Ruiz, people buried him. It shows you how fickle. You want to know how fickle boxing fans are. Just kind of pay attention to the chatter around a fighter when they lose for the first time. But it wasn't that long ago when Ruiz beats him and people buried him and said he was done. And now look at him. You know what I mean? And this happens quite often with a lot of fighters. I'm stoked about this card. And then Joshua Buatsi's on this card fighting Willie Hutchinson, Mark Chamberlain, and Josh Padley. The fights I'm most stoked about is the Josh Kelly fight. The Josh Warrington fight's going to be a banger. Hamzat Shiraz and the AJ fight. This is a good card, guys. Save Boxing. Oh, you know what? I think, Jack, I think that we'll appreciate that Anthony Joshua victory over Francis down the road. But somebody will do, I'm sure they'll put a bunch of money behind it. There'll be probably like a Netflix-style documentary showcasing all this, because what happened, Francis, he was all the rage. He caught an aging, lackluster, lethargic, unfocused Tyson Fury, and the people, the fools, were fooled into thinking that he could have walked in and schooled AJ. And those in the know knew AJ was way too disciplined for that. This guy, people got on me yesterday for mentioning, so some of the comments on a video I did with Lomachenko, people were getting on me about how amateur records, how come when people mention Loma, they always talk about his amateur experience. That doesn't matter in the pros. The hell it doesn't. People who say that don't know shit about boxing. When I reference Lomachenko's amateur experience, and when I'm about to reference Anthony Joshua's amateur experience, I'm not talking about their win-loss record, guys. Being an Olympian in anything showcases one's discipline, focus, determination. You add those three adjectives, discipline, focus, determination, they might be nouns depending on the context. You add those to a combat sport like boxing, when you put an amateur Olympic experience behind a boxer like Loma or AJ, that's what I'm talking about. That amateur experience matters on the pro level because of discipline. And I knew, Jack, you probably knew going into that Francis fight, AJ was going to be ready. AJ wasn't going to be lacking focus. He learned his lesson, and look what he did. He put on, and then he can't even win significantly, because when he did win significantly, his naysayers and detractors still talk shit, saying that he just beat an MMA fighter. So, you can't win with boxing writers, boxing fans. Fury fights and prepares to the level of his competition. Where there is a real danger, he does turn up, but didn't see Francis as a threat. True. I like watching Tyson Fury. I like watching Fury train. It's fascinating to me to see him listed as a 6'9" heavyweight, and sometimes he looks like he's over 300 pounds, and you see him dancing on his toes. You see him circling away from his opponent, working the ropes. You sometimes forget how giant that guy is. And he's had some great moments in the ring. I mean, think about the legacy of their careers if he doesn't get up for that 10 count, the first Deontay Wilder fight. If he doesn't get up, miraculously looking like The Undertaker, totally changed the trajectory. Because he was only, I think, was that his first fight back? That might have been his first or second fight back from blowing up to like 400 pounds, quitting boxing. And so, like, that set him off on getting the trilogy for Deontay, getting the bags that he's gotten down in Saudi. And so Fury, that was a big moment in both of their careers. If he doesn't get up, Wilder stays undefeated, continues to be the boogeyman. He probably maybe rematches him. Who knows what would have happened? But it's moments like that in boxing history where, like, little things that seem insignificant at the moment, depending on how the fight plays out, ends up affecting the trajectory of multiple guys' careers. Because look at Usyk now. Usyk ends up, at that time, Usyk's a cruiserweight. The first time Fury and Deontay fought, Usyk's still a cruiserweight. Fast forward to when Usyk fights Fury, who becomes the undisputed champion at heavyweight. Who knows if he ever gets that shot against Wilder? Who knows who would have the belt if Fury doesn't get up? So it's fun to think about, and he definitely didn't look at Francis as a threat. Ego. You guys, ego is the downfall of man. So we're talked about the event they're putting on in England. That's going to be in September, the month after the Crawford event in Los Angeles. Now, Jack, I don't know if it was you or somebody else who told me to do the post about Danny Garcia. Last night on the live, we were talking about Danny Garcia's resume and how it's underrated. And I put it up on our Instagram on the community section here on YouTube. And yeah, Jack, and mate, on our Facebook, it's doing really well. So I want to say thank you. So over like 60,000 people reach, 180 people commenting, 500 likes, 50 plus shares. And on a single post, I put, stats don't lie. Danny Garcia's resume is ridiculous, and noted the wins. But a lot of people, God, I'm a beast, bro. I'm a bit of a nerd. So keep coming with those ideas, and I'll keep fucking searching. But it was interesting to see the mixed bag of people who were saying, yeah, he's underrated, versus the ones who were saying he's a bum. And then I'll get on people because I won't attack them, but I'll ask them, if you're going to call a guy like Danny Garcia a bum, I want to know why. And it was funny because on one of the comments, the guy goes, he lists all these sort of excuses, and it was pretty derogatory. And all I go, you must be an Eric Morales fan. And he goes, yeah, how'd you know? And then he started listing all of these reasons about he caught, because Eric Morales is when Eric Morales is in his prime, he's one of the best boxers that I remember watching. And Danny Garcia beat him twice. And I told the guy who was hating on Garcia, I go, I don't know if I put this post up, or I don't know if I make this content if Morales wasn't on Garcia's hit list. So boxing is one of these sort of, it takes two to tango. If you remove 2 victories over Eric Morales and you just see like the Amir Khan, the Zab Judah, it's still an impressive resume. But to have Eric Morales twice, once via decision and once by knockout, disregard where he was in his career. History only remembers the names. You know what I mean? And that's what I told the guy. I was like, the history books are just going to say 2 victories against Eric Morales. That in itself fattens one's resume. But it's interesting to see how many people forgot about Garcia. He's not retired. From that post in the Facebook group, I've learned that he's still in the gym. He stays in shape. He's just waiting for a call. He's either 35 or 36, never been knocked down, never been finished. His only 3 losses, Thurman, Porter, EJ. I mean, come on, dude. You know what I'm saying? That dude's, and to remind everyone, 2 times over Morales, Amir Khan, Zab Judah, Lucas Madison, Lamont Peterson, Pali Malignaggi, Robert Guerrero, Brandon Rios. And the dude's a beast. Hopefully we get to see him again. Philadelphia, those Philadelphia fighters, I mean, going back to the 1920s, those Philadelphia fighters are tough as nails. We're talking about here, you know, I put some content up about Bud Crawford training with heavyweights. People want to still talk. You're never going to make anyone happy. You can't make – this is something I've learned in life, and it sounds cliche, but especially with boxing, not existing guy for me to watch, but I have to give credit. Yeah, exciting, I think. Yeah, not his style, like exciting. Yeah, if we're talking about exciting styles, I like the flashy. I like the guys who the purists talk shit about. So I like Josh Kelly. I love watching him box. I like the new kid Ben Whitaker. I like his style. I like somebody who brings some pizzazz. Obviously, I loved watching Prince Nassim Ahmed. He was one of my favorite fighters as a kid. Arturo Gatti. So not necessarily all showboating sort of styles, but exciting styles. My favorite thing about Arturo Gatti was the fact that in all of his fights, even before the Mickey Ward fight, you would see a very technical boxer. Arturo Gatti's guard would always be high. His footwork was beautiful. His feints were there. Everything was sharp, but he would just be able to be – you could lure him into a war. And one of my favorite moments watching a fight, it was, I think – I need an internet. I think it was 2002 or 2003, the first Mickey Ward fight, where in the 3rd round, Arturo Gatti swept rounds 1, 2, 3, the first 2 minutes of the 3rd. And it was the end of that 3rd round. Ward hurt Gatti for the first time. And you could hear, I think it's Buddy McGirt in the corner of Gatti screaming, box, Arturo, box, don't brawl, box. And it's one of those moments that I'll never forget with fight, like his style. He could brawl. He was technical. He was pretty. When it gets to Garcia isn't a guy who's going to beat himself. So I understand why that style isn't exciting. It's a workman-like style. You know what I mean? Mikey Garcia, can't wait for your Bivol, Arthur. So before, I don't know when you started following the page, Jack, but before the Better Beef and Bivol fight got canceled the first time, I did a video about them. It did really well as well. You'd have to go back, I think, 8 weeks, though, if you want to find it. But I'll do another one. As that fight gets closer, I'll do an updated one, Artur, Better Beef and Bivol. That's a fight that when this past 2 weeks ago, when David Benavidez was going up against Vosdick, it was one of the things where I was talking about the problem with Vosdick is if he was going to win that fight against Benavidez, they already said the winner of Benavidez-Vosdick was going to get the winner of Better Beef and Bivol. And I was saying, I don't think Vosdick wants that Better Beef rematch. Better Beef is the guy that took Vosdick's O in 2017 or 2019, somewhere along the line. And Vosdick had a seizure, or Vosdick had a mini stroke, had to be hospitalized, and then retired. And so Better Beef is a different animal. He's a real pro guy that I can't wait for you. But do you predict? Now, we do know that Better Beef has had some shoddy knees. You know that I guess allegedly he's fought the last few years with bad knees. He finally had it was a ligament issue. He finally had the ligament repaired. If you follow his Instagram, he just put a video up yesterday of him running. So I don't know. To me, that they must have just went in there, cleaned it up, probably arthroscopic, maybe light laser, but it looks like they just probably scoped it because he's already running. So the stabilization of the knee seems like it has to be okay unless he's going just linear. We know he's not a big mover in there anyway. His power seems ungodly. Everybody talks about sparring with the guy. It's just a nightmare. And, you know, neither one of them are getting any younger. I think Better Beef now is, 39 and Bivol 33 or 34. If that's, look, you put me, you can ask me on the lives. I'll do my prediction. I like Better Beef in that fight, dude. I really do. I think Better Beef, and I'll do an official breakdown close to the fight, but since we're drinking, say this is locker room talk. I think that the X factor Better Beef is being able to hurt and get hurt. I haven't seen Bivol get hurt. You know what I mean? And I think in this fight, in that weight class, with guys at that highest level, it's not always about being able to hurt your opponent. It's about being able to get hurt and still be there. And it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that is why my heart of hearts, my money, I would take Better Beef. He just seems a bit more, I don't know. He seems a bit more grittier. I think he might, we'll see. That movement too, that I don't want to say Bivol beats you by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 paper cuts, because he does have power, but he's moving and he wants to swarm you. He wants to drown you. He doesn't really care about knockouts. I have the better legs being the key to victory. If he can't corner Bivol, then I believe Bivol wins the decision. I don't see Bivol being stationary long enough for us. That's going to be the narrative. That's 100% what's going to have to play out, and that's what makes boxing exciting. Because you know that, I know that, both of their camps know that, and it's like every classic matchup, the better the camp, the better opportunity you have to game plan for these things. So it's shocking when we see the opposite. It would be shocking for us to see that fight and Bivol to stand in front of Better Beef. And you and I would both be like, what the hell? Either A, Bivol is going against his coach's game plan, or B, the camp sucks. They didn't game plan for this, which we know his camp doesn't suck. These are high-level Olympic sort of level coaches. So you'd have to think he has to, feints, footwork, cut the ring off, catch him early, that sort of thing. But that's a fun fight to think about. Hopefully they could stay healthy. Let's see what else is happening. It's looking like that Lomachenko Gervonta Tank Davis fight is all but locked and loaded. Bivol has to concentrate because he's got caught by Smith at the bell. Yeah, that's what I mean. And the older you get caught once. Who knows? I don't know how hard a sparring is. Those Russians are so sort of secretive on. You don't really see a lot of their sparring leak too much. You don't see a lot of guys at that level where they come from give too much away about what they've been through. We just see their records. So it's tough to bet against either one. I'll probably flip-flop my choice 5 or 6 times until then. Manny Pacquiao. So I wanted to talk about this. Manny Pacquiao fight agreed upon between Mario Barrios for the WBC 147 strap. That is crazy. This is no joke. I wasn't even going to bring this up. I wasn't even going to mention it. Manny Pacquiao fighting against Mario Barrios. And when we get a specific fight date, oh my God, Adrian Broner's out of his mind. I'm trying to find you guys. Let's see what Turkey Al-Sheikh posted. So this is the boys. They almost brawled at the face-off. All right, guys, this seems like it's going to wind down now. I got to run. Adrian Broner's out of his mind. Stay tuned. Like the page, like the post, subscribe, hit the notification, meaning that every time I post a new video, you'll get notified. Join me there, Jack. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Get after it.